Before we get into the return, I'd love to talk to some of the original cast about the legacy of Peaks and what the last couple decades were like without it, and then how you were summoned back into it by David and Mark. Starting with Kyle, when it ended, did you always feel like there was going to be more?
Actually, no. I figured that was the end. Although David and I are good friends and we visit with each other frequently, and I would always, during the conversation, and they were always a couple of hours of just sort of revisiting old territory, I would always say, you ever think about maybe going back to Twin Peaks, maybe? And David was always just kind of very non-committal about it, and he never sort of said yes or no, but it was definitely probably a no at that time. So. And
then what happened? Was it a phone call? Was it
It was a cryptic phone call. So he called and said, I needed to speak with you. And I said, okay. And he said, but I can't speak to you over the phone about this. And I was like, okay. So I knew I was in trouble for something, or he wanted to talk about something that I hoped he wanted to talk about. So we met in a hotel room in New York, and he had coffee there, which is always nice. And he said he and Mark were writing and had found a way back to Twin Peaks, and was I up for the journey? And I said, I've never left Twin Peaks, David. I said, I'm ready to go. So, thanks.
Everett, I think that I heard or read somewhere that had you not answered a very specific phone call, did David and Mark tweet out, how do we get in touch with you? How did that all happen from your perspective?
Well, I heard Mark told me that David was going to go out to his Twitter crowd and see whether or not someone knew about my whereabouts. And somebody sent him a telephone number of an empty house I have where I keep a couple of vintage cars. And I just happened to be there, and I show up at this place maybe every couple of weeks to drive the cars. And I got this yellow rotary phone hanging on the wall, and it rings. And I haven't heard this damn phone ring in 10 years. And I pick it up, it's David. And for some strange reason, it felt so comfortable. I hadn't spoken to this guy in 20 years. But it's like we picked up a conversation we just left off the day before. So it was sweet, it was warm. Oddly enough, we didn't talk about Twin Peaks. But we shared a lot of our memories together, some of the time we spent on Dune, and of course Twin Peaks. And he said, hey man, I need a telephone number where I can be in touch with you. Is this a good one? I said, man, this is not a good phone. So we exchanged numbers, and in a while he got back to me and he said, we're gonna do Twin Peaks. And I said, what? Missed 25 years, man. They're gonna put you in jail. You're breaking some kind of law. And he said they're gonna do it, and I said, well, you just call me when it's time to suit up. And it's great, by the way. It was a fabulous feeling. Warm, wonderful, womb-like feeling to be around him because he's a funny guy. He's very clever. He knows how to get a performance. He knows how to dig deep. And I love coming back. It's a long time. 25 years is a long time.
We're really glad that you came back. Dana, I heard you were actually heading to a fan convention with Cheryl when you heard that there was something in the works.
Yeah, we were heading to the Twin Peaks UK Festival, I think 2015 probably. And it had been, rumored, and the tweets had come out about the gun coming back in style and all that stuff. So we kind of knew what was going on. And then, Cheryl was on the way to the airport, and David called her and said, it's going to happen, you're in it. And then she said, well, I'm going to go see Dana in London in a few hours. Is he in it, or can I tell him? So he said, yeah, Dana's in it. And so we didn't know in what capacity or anything about it, but then we were in it. And so we just, got to, it was the best trip to London we've ever had. Just walking on air the whole time. Right. Super fun. We used to send pictures, we were sending pictures to David of us walking on the London Bridge and stuff. There's Bobby and Laura. That's it. So that's how I live it.
And James and Kimmy, what about you guys? Where were you when you got the call?
In bed.
I was just at a friend's house and phone rang and completely mind blown. I was about 100 miles away from my house and I immediately got up, put my stuff together, went back to my house, and I just lost it. I didn't know what to do. It was wonderful to hear. Yeah.
I was in bed, the phone rang, I answered it, which I never do. But I answered it because first I got a text. It was Sabrina Sutherland asking if she could call me, that's what you do in LA. You have to ask if it's all right if I could call you. I said yes. She called me, I answered the phone, and she said, I have David Lynch for you, would you like to speak to him? And I went, yes. And he told me, and as he was talking, I slid off the bed, down the bed, which was really high at the time. By the time I was done talking to him, I was looking at the bottom of my bed. I had somehow crawled all the way under the bed. Because it was just so unexpected.
Naomi, you've worked with David before on Mulholland Drive. Amazing movie. How did you get recruited for Peaks? And more importantly, what, if anything, did you know about Janie E before you said yes?
First part, I've definitely stayed in touch with David since Mulholland Drive, and we get together, we go up to his house and we chat a bit, and I had actually gone up there maybe, a year ago, or more than a year ago, with Laura Dern, who's sadly not here today. And we were trying to coax him into some ideas and get something going. Kind of, that's what you do with David. Come on, hire me again. It's just so good to be on a set with him or just in a room. Anyway, he was talking about some ideas as he smoked and smiling a lot, but not really saying yes or no, like your conversation went down. And then finally, I heard the rumor that Twin Peaks was happening, but I wasn't part of that original team, obviously. So it would be wrong for me to be pushy about it, but I dropped some hints. And then finally I did get a call and said, Naomi, come up to the house. I want you to read something. And I said, okay, sounds good. And he just gave me an envelope, gave me a cup of coffee, sat me in his chair that he built, and next to a table that he built. And I sat there for a good hour or so and read these pages, but there was nothing, I don't know anything about what happened before my part or after, the scenes I was in, that's all he gave me, and some of the scenes, the lines were crossed out, so I don't know what was said. Only, the back and forth between us. Dougie, lovely Dougie. Dougie!
So those pages, though, it was slugged as Dougie. You were in a scene with Dougie, but was it revealed to you that that character was going to be played by Kyle, or?
It was not told to me, but I certainly
Understood.
posed that question.
Copy that.
Which he did not, clarify.
Matthew, I wrote a piece on the work that you've been doing in The Return, and it said, and I quote, By conjuring up as much snot as a person could ever create, Lillard has turned Hastings into a memorable human character in a sea of Lynchian insanity. Many have compared your tearful performance to that of the incredible Ray Wise from the original series, who played Laura Palmer's father, Leland. And I heard you came in cold, that you never actually, kind of...
Still haven't, bro.
So you've never seen the original Peaks?
They're all so lovely. These people are amazing. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
So, are you watching this one, The Return?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're so lovely. I think it's weird. Anyone else? Super. If you're not a Lynchian, if you're not a Twin Peaks dude, you come in, it's a little strange.
My question for you would be...
You guys saw episode 8, right? That's crazy.
What is it? Yet you feel like you fit in this world so completely. What do you think it is that David saw in you that made him invite you into this world?
I honestly have no idea how I got here. Look, I don't know. His casting process is very interesting. You sit in a room and somebody talks to you and they put a video camera on your face and you're just talking about life in general and you get a phone call saying, I want you to come read these pages. So I literally was like, with my kids, I'm like, I have to go by this office and read a script. And my biggest fear is that I was going to do something horrible and naked in the show. When you're reading a David Lynch script, you have no idea where it's going to go. It's a horrible thing. And then, I got to the scene that's in episode 9, and it was intimidating. It was the scariest thing I've ever read as an actor, just because in the middle of it, he's got a line that says the character breaks down hysterically sobbing. And you sort of know, being a fan of David's and being a fan of his movies, what that kind of looks like. So it was intimidating, and on that day, you sort of, in his world, you get 2 takes. You kind of come in, you do your thing, and you move on. So you want to be really good, really fast.
Mission accomplished.
You did.
Tim, you were a Peaks fan, and like a Dune fan, a Lynch fan. Is that accurate?
I was more of a Eraserhead fan. I was a Blue Velvet fan. So, and Mulholland Drive fan. So I was very. The idea of a long time ago I played Gregor Samsa, who's in the Metamorphosis character. I did it with Burkhoff, and we did it in London on stage. And that's what Eraserhead would. That's the connection to that for me in a weird way. So I was a fan of that stuff. I wasn't somebody who'd seen who dealt with the whole Twin Peaks thing. I was busy dealing with the Quentin thing at that time. And so this was all new to me. I knew him from Dune, which I saw in the cinema in London, and but I was very, very new to all of it. Very new. I find it intriguing. I still do.
And you had never met David prior to working on this project with him?
No, I met his daughter. I hadn't met him.
And so, what was the first meeting like? Did you get the job before you actually met him? Was there a phone call?
They called up and said, "Do you want to do Twin Peaks?" I said, "Yeah."
So,
fuck it, man. Oh, I broke the law. Not supposed to swear. But yeah, and then I was working with, I can't say. Can I say? Yes, I can say. With Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I just worked with her. So, and David had cast us in it completely independently of Hateful Eight. He didn't even know that we worked together in it, I don't think. And so it was kind of a nice reunion for us. Very cool. It's nice.
Don, we've talked a lot about working with, meeting David. Many of your scenes are working with Kyle, and more importantly, the Dougie iteration of Agent Cooper or Kyle's performance. I don't quite know how to explain it. What is it like working with Kyle? What is it like working with someone who doesn't say words per se? What are the inherent challenges in some of those scenes?
Well, I remember my first sentence to Dougie was, cut the shit, Dougie. I knew that we'd had a relationship. When I was told about Twin Peaks, it actually came from the casting director, Joanna Ray, who was a wonderful casting director, as you can see from the wonderful actors that she gets. And I had never met David, and of course, all I got was pages of script, my own scene, but the scene was 4 pages long and solid dialogue, and the other characters just said a word or two. And this was a real challenge to do. And fortunately, I had my actor's son, Michael Murray, who was one of the stars of Cop Rock, ran the scene with me, and we had 10 days before we started shooting, and he made me go through the scene 10 times each day. So I'd gone through it 100 times by the time we got to the scene. And then what was really interesting to me and made it all the more enjoyable was there was such an atmosphere on the set when I walked on the set. I think it was probably one of the happiest sets I've ever walked on. There was no tension at all. Everything was very relaxed, and even the cast and the crew, there was a togetherness with it. There was no real difference between actors and technicians. We were all into making this film. We were all very much moved by the man who had written this and directed it, and David Lynch, and also with Mark, of course. And it just became one of the great experiences of my life, one of the most pleasant things that I've ever done. And having seen the results, I'm watching it like a fan every week because, you know, of course, I haven't seen the other pages that the other actors are doing. So it made me a big Twin Peaks fan, and I'm just happy to be part of it and feel very grateful for the opportunity.
You raised a really interesting point because all of you, maybe with the exception of Kyle, have only read your parts. What is it like watching the show for you? The first 10 episodes. What is the experience of seeing it? Are you just as surprised as we are? Are you trying to figure out how you fit into it? Do you watch it with friends and family? Do you watch it alone? Just a question for the entire panel. I'm curious as to how you are watching this work, because traditionally an actor knows what it's going to be. In this case, not so much.
It's we're all watching it as it unfolds. No one has seen anything beyond the episodes that have already aired. And I would like to watch it home alone. Glass of wine, and that's about all I need. So.
I haven't watched it yet because I've been traveling in places with not great internet, and so I'm saving it all. It's like, you know,
You're really good.
Canada?
Yeah.
No. All right, that was
yeah, so it's good I'm looking forward to watching big chunks of it all at once.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna wait until it's done, and then I'm gonna watch the whole thing from the first series all the way through to the end with my kids. So we're gonna have like a festival that I don't know what that's gonna do to us. But I'm up for it. And you're all invited.
You know, because we don't know anything, but we, knew the cast list, but we didn't know how it all factored in. But I just want to say that as an original, it's been so exciting and thrilling for me to watch someone like Kyle, who I've known for all these years, get to do stuff that I didn't even know he could do. It's like amazing to see his work. And these two here as well, they're like some of my favorite actors, and just to be able to be a part of something, well, we don't know if we interact, but just the fact that we got to, I get to watch them work. It's just awesome. And then plus all the, originals. I don't know. It's just exciting for everybody, even us.
How about the thing that turned out? I mean, Bobby he's look where he's come. Look how far he's come.
Bobby got a good arc.
Bobby got a good arc. Watching you grow as an actor has been great too.
I think they suck.
That's why I love it.
What added story material do cast members bring to each episode?
I can tell a little brief story about an actor who's not here named Jim Belushi. And in one scene, kind of a big scene, everything was going crazy, and Jim decided that he was going to ad-lib a line in this heightened moment of euphoria, which he did, and we heard, "Cut!" and he said, and David has one of his megaphones, and he said, "Mr. Belushi, do I have to report you to the principal's office?" And Jim went, "No, sir, got it."
Yeah.
I hope that helps answer your question.
So it's such a pleasure to see the show back after 25 years. And my parents watched the series originally as it was airing in the 90s. So sitting down and watching it with them every Sunday, it really feels like it's come full circle. But a lot has changed in the past 25 years. So how do you think the internet has changed the production or just the quality of the show or the show itself? How's the internet played a role in that?
That's a great question. Yeah, Kyle, you were obviously...
Just really quickly, I think, it made us very conscious. We made a real concerted effort to not let anything get out about the show. No spoilers, no anything, really. And I think the specter of social media and all that made everyone a little nervous, and we worked very hard to make sure that nothing got out in that way, which I think we were very successful with. So,
I know you're not allowed to speculate or demystify the show that we're currently watching, but do you start to cook up kind of your own theories? Are you aware that out there on the internet there are people who are watching these episodes hundreds of thousands of times, each episode, trying to sort of unpack mystery and understand what's going on? And just since again you're not just in it, but also watching it, what do you make of all that? All the theorizing, fun, frustrating, both of the above?
I've never been asked how I have a date. I write a date in episode 9, and I must have been asked 1,000 times what was the date that I wrote down. Like the 20th or the 29th.
What was the date that you wrote down?
I think it's the 20th, but it was like a year ago, and I have terrible penmanship. I can't tell. But The Zone, I mean, they went out and created The Zone, which is an online site that you can visit. That's real.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am.
Hey guys, my name's Dominique. I just want to say I love Twins Peak, new and old. I'm a big fan of Naomi Roth. You are beautiful in person and I am starstruck. My question is to you or to anyone, who has made you feel starstruck in your life?
I would say I still get a little starstruck around David because he's just so unique and he's like living on in another world. It's one that you look up to and want to be a part of. You just kind of want to please him in everything you do. That sounds weird. On set. But yeah, he's I'm back from that. Yeah. No, it's truly, that's not a joke. He creates such an incredibly imaginative world, and it's so original, and you just want to join that world at whatever cost, and you know it's going to be good because all his ideas are just completely original. Anyway, but thank you. Sorry.
Oh boy, this is going to be good. Go ahead, sir.
Diane, if I ever had the chance to meet the amazing crew of Twin Peaks, I would take that chance to ask Kyle what it was like to learn to speak and act backwards in the Black Lodge.
With the clip. Well done, sir.
Well done. Carstel. That's less rock. You know, I was very lucky that all I really had to do in the Black Lodge was occasionally walk backwards and sit down. And the other actors were all required to learn that dialogue backwards. It was extraordinary to watch the focus and concentration as they were able to deliver this indecipherable dialogue. And it was difficult, you know, but so highly effective, I think.
Is there a different energy on the set when you're doing stuff that's inside the Black Lodge than when you're doing stuff that's outside of it?
Yeah, it feels very focused and almost like electricity is buzzing around. It's a very unusual environment. That floor, first of all, you know, gives you a whole different kind of state of being.
Hi guys. So my question is mostly what I say directed to Kyle is, everyone talks about Dougie, but everyone seems to be forgetting about Doppel Cooper, one of the most amazing villains I've ever seen right now. And my real thing is, Kyle, how much do you like being bad right now?
Real, it's great. It was, I was reading the script and seeing what David expected me to do at the very beginning was very humbling because he's stuck with me, you know, so hopefully I'll be able to do what I need to do with that role. But we found him sort of slowly together, David Lynch and I, and then I was very lucky in that David was a director that was watching over me as I went into that place because I knew that I would be taken care of carefully, you know, that we were making this character together. So I was at a real advantage because of that.
The fan community has named this character Doppel Cooper, Evil Cooper, Dirty Cooper. What do you call him?
Just a nice guy. No, I call him.
Are you allowed to tell us?
I like Mr. C, but that's only because it was stated in one of the early episodes.
Mr. C.
Mr. C, Mr. C. Yeah, I just like the way Otis said that. I thought that was that's one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah, no.
That and Beulah comes in. How are you? I love that. It's so haunting, just the way she said that. It's one of my favorites. Some of my favorite stuff.
Yes, sir. Cool shirt.
Thank you. My name's Cody Jones. I just wanted to say I've been a fan for a long time, so I know better not to ask any questions explaining anything or what this means or whatever. So I kind of had a question for Matthew, since he's new to it. First off, watch season 1, season 2, then the movie, then the one you're in.
Copy that.
That's the order. All right. So, since I don't have a question to explain anything, Matthew, could you do some of your lines as Bill Hastings lines as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
I don't know whether to insulate you from this or.
Oh, you can't protect me. I got you.
Do it again.
Zoinks! Scuba diving, zoinks! I don't know.
Bravo.
I can't get away from that damn character. I don't want to be associated with him. I mean, I love him, Shaggy, but I would like that to be done, and I just want to be Bill Hastings forever. Back to planet.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is a question for Kyle. Since you're working with Lynch from really early in your career, do you feel like there was a trajectory between all these characters and how it affected you in your maturation from both personally and as a human being professionally? Was there a connection between those characters?
Thanks for the easy question.
Softball.
Without a doubt, David's had a huge impact on my career. I don't know if I would have had a film and television career if it weren't for David. It was all theater, and David brought me into movies. He pretty much brought me up in film world, and so and spoiled me. We've all spoken about how the set is that he creates the environment and the joyfulness and the sense of creativity, and so that's what I experienced in the first two things that I ever did. So I've been spoiled forever by working with David. He's an interesting guy. There's a point, I was thinking about something else about David, is that he's very accessible to all of us, and he's very open, and he's very available. And then there's a point at which he goes into a place that's purely David. And I don't think, it's like this is him as the artist. He's like an artist, and at that point I'm like, then I become like a fan, you know, because now he's my pal, but when he goes here, he's an artist, like a real artist, and that's untouchable, in a place that I don't feel I can share with him. He exists in there all by himself, you know. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but there's definitely a difference.